Now, um, so you've done all the takeoffs. You know what type of material are going to be used. You know what the quantities are, and moving on to the estimating tab, you can see all the categories that are included in this example. If you choose to create a new group of like costs, you can just name it in here, or even delete that catalog, or delete that cost item. Um, what we normally do in construction businesses, especially if you're thinking big, um, of for running a business, we can add human resources in here, and based on that, I can add an item. So I'm gonna add a labor cost. Let's say general labor. For it's going to be priced based on the number of hours worked, and for that, so you have to here think about what actually costs to supply labor on site, especially if you're hiring um, on a casual basis or on a full-time, part-time. If you're giving an entitlement to the laborers for having superannuation, tax deductions, and so on and so forth, you must include those costs in this section here as well, as a nominal rate that we normally get from the companies. I can put 50. This is not the number that is the labor is actually getting paid for, because your company is going to pay superannuation and tax to the government as well. So if you're depositing say $30 an hour for a labor, um, that number shouldn't be included in here, because on top of that there are some other overhead costs as well, which you must consider. So I'm clicking on save. If you have administrative costs or shop drawings or other sort of stuff, you can add them in here as well. And for that I've just selected general labor, but you can always add more items, like again for labor, let's say admin costs. How much are you paying your administration in your company? Again, I guess that will be $50. Makes sense per hour for each project, and it's going to be added to the categories, the cost categories that you have. Profit markup, really important, because you want your company to be profitable, and this item can be selected or customized by yourself. We can add 25% profit, or best is to consult with your company director to see what exactly comes into charging profit, because at the same time, if you set this number so high, the chances of winning the project becomes a bit lower. You want to be competitive always in the market, and at the same time profitable. Um, then that number will change based on the percentage you put, as you can see. Another important stuff that you have is to allow for variation, adjustment, and alteration, which normally stands around 10 to 15 to 20%. This will make sure that since all the construction projects have their own complexity, and there are multiple peoples involved, we normally see a lot of changes as the project progress. Meaning that, let's say you've started a project, everything has been set up, you go on site and see suddenly that there is no power supply to run your machinery, and that's going to delay the project. It's going to put cost on your company, and to avoid those type of costs and mistakes that couldn't be identified before any like comprehensive assessment, which normally doesn't exist, because there are other types of trades working on the construction site as well. There's always an uncertainty around completion of a project, and to cover those uncertainties, it is important to put variation, adjustment, and alteration as a percentage in your calculation. So your code, let's say, is ready after considering all the material costs and human resources, and yeah, so this is going to be the final code that you can actually send. But remember to put or upload your logo, your company details as well, project name, scope of work. How can you define the scope of work? Back to the estimating tab, there is a note that you can put as the scope of work for your client to explain what you're going to do and what not. You can also adjust all the items that you want to be seen by the client. If you don't want them to see the details, you can also adjust that in here. Like, say for example, if I change the quantity, you can see that some items are being disappeared. Quantity will disappear, but it's good practice to let the customer know, as it was negotiated upon your conversation with the customer, as to the number of square meters that you're going to take on. Yeah, so also most cases you want to hide the profit because you don't want that to be negotiable, and also hide the taxes and many other stuff that you have in here. Once it's ready, export it as a PDF and then send it to the client.